I think that that's an important part of facing your fear. If you feel that there's something that you have to do, you're being called to do it, and you have a sense of purpose behind it. You say, okay, well, yes, I'm afraid of speaking in front of all those people, but my sense of the value on the other side of that fear, my sense of duty to say, well, I'm scared, but I have something to offer people. I have something that could be, I feel truly in my heart is of value to them. And the way he explained that in many instances was he said that some of the combat that he was in, he said that the people, the soldiers, sometimes even the regular militia, civilian people that were the hardest to beat, the hardest to fight, were the ones who were fighting for something that they loved, not because they hated you or because they thought you were terrible, but because they saw you as, well, you're coming to invade something that's important to me. I love what's behind me. That what's pushing me, I will handle the fear. I'm not going to run from it. I will be scared, but I will run towards you because...
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have quietly shaped their lives, offering you gentle wisdom to carry into your own daily journey. Today we have something special, a powerhouse duo calling Robinson and Dana Pemberton. She's a trauma release expert and TCM practitioner. He is a martial artist turned life coach, and together they've spent years helping others transform fear into power through their work at the Digital Dojo. Let's step into their shared wisdom and hear the words that have guided their remarkable partnership. Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Dana Pemberton, and I am one of the co-founders of the Digital Dojo, which is a website and a platform to share and provide people with information about self-development, optimal health, both mentally, spiritually, and physically.
Okay. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is by Dr. Maya Angelou, and the quote goes as such. She said that courage is the most important virtue because without it, no other virtue can be practiced consistently.
Oh, courage is the most important virtue because without it, no other virtue can be practiced consistently. So I just want to start from the very beginning. What does that mean? What does that mean? Can you share a story to illustrate that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Courage, that quote feels so powerful to me because courage is the energy that we use to handle feelings of vulnerability. That's really important because vulnerability is where the most authentic truth lies. So if we're really going to be honest with people and be transparent with people and be very clear about our intentions and our values, we have to tell the truth. Therefore, we have to practice being vulnerable on a regular basis because when we're being truly authentic, there's no hiding. There's nothing behind us. We just put forward what is most meaningful to us, and then we have to stand by it. So that vulnerability takes tremendous courage because it's the energy that allows us to face our fear and overcome our fear because of the value that we feel is on the other side of that fear. So with courage, we can express all of our other emotions, all of our other values, all of the other things that are meaningful to us in our lives. And without it, we get stopped by the fear, and then we're never truly expressing ourselves.
Yeah. Oh. And it's a good thing you shared this quote on the podcast because a lot of the things that people want to do, I want to chase this dream, I want to do this, I want to do this, they're scared. We're all scared.
Yes, absolutely, my man.
We're scared.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's okay, right? People think that, they have to conquer their fear or they have to not be afraid of things. And that's a bit sad to me because when we have some fear around something, we also have tremendous respect for it. And when we have tremendous respect for something, that means that it's connected to our values and to the things that we feel are the most important in life. And in my experience, no one can tell you those things. You have to know them yourself. You have to explore yourself. You have to challenge yourself. You have to expose yourself sometimes and say what you truly think and feel. Right? And that's scary. Of course, my friend, it's always scary, but always valuable.
Yeah. For me, when we realize that we're afraid, it's easier to then deal with it and address the issue on ground and say, okay, I'll do it anyway. But the problem is a lot of persons are afraid, but they don't even know that they're afraid, yet they project onto something else. I'll give an example. Let's say someone wants to start a podcast
Yes.
and they're afraid of, of talking and speaking out there and getting someone to hear their voice and, saying the wrong thing or
Mhm.
saying terrible thing, like just mashing up the language and not speaking very well.
Yes.
What they do
Yes, man.
what they do then is they say, oh, my mic setup is not really good, so I don't really sound professional.
That's
When I
right.
get good mic, I'll start a podcast. Oh, I don't have a studio. My background, it's not really lit well. When I get a good studio, I'll start a podcast. And guess what? They don't deal with the underlying issue, and they try to do something else, and they stop.
It stops everything if you let it. The fear, and most people are profoundly afraid, and I understand. I have my fears too, of course, but most people are profoundly afraid of what they perceive as failure. They say, oh, well, I can't do it. And like you said, they will find every excuse in the world, every reason in the book to not actually give something their 100% commitment and try, because they're afraid that if they fail, they will be shamed, they will be ridiculed, they will be looked at as less valuable, as if they were stupid or silly for thinking that they had something to contribute, right? And that's where we have to allow, Dr. Angelou's words of courage to say, well, hey, man, courage has to be the first thing. Courage has to be the tip of the spear. Because if we don't have courage, we'll never tell the truth. And if we never tell the truth, we'll never experience the value of ourselves fully that we feel and see reflected in the people that we impact, the people around us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why that quote is so powerful for me. Every time I refer to it every day. I think about that statement, honestly, multiple times in a day when I'm doing my work, when I'm engaging in life, because I learned from this definition of courage that what I used to think was courage is very different than what Dr. Maya Angelou is talking about. Because I thought courage was, from a young man, from a young boy. My father was in the military. He served in combat. His mentality was, courage is big capital C, run into the building and shoot the bad guys, jump out of the plane, all of those things, right? And I can tell by how you're laughing, exactly what I'm talking about. You can relate from a personal experience, I bet.
Yeah. What you just shared leads on to many, many things, and that is when you put in the perspective that people who fight war, right? I still can't even wrap my head around the military one, because one of it is that it's one of those jobs where that, like, that it's war you fight.
Yes.
What's basically
Yeah.
people trying to, like, this side is trying to kill this side and this other side is trying to kill this side. Of course, then they're like, oh, we are defending property and all that. Of course, there are the philosophical reasons, but it's one of those things that it's not like, oh, it's a risk. Is that, okay, you either get killed or you kill the bad guy, either way. But it's just one of those professions, and yet people go into the military, they train for it, they go for deployments, and they do the thing. And I still don't even understand. I'm like, why would I even sign up for that kind of job? Why? But then I pick that picture and I bring it to my daily life, and I'm like, I'm trying to start a podcast. It's not like I'm trying to fight war. Yeah, like nobody's going to die.
Yes.
Like, there are no bullets here. Like, it's not a big deal. Someone is out there in Iran, Israel right now, trying to dodge bullets. But I'm here just doing a podcast.
And bombs.
And bombs. Yeah. It's a podcast. It's not a big deal. And that perspective just reframes things for me.
Yes, that's powerful, because it shows you. That's a great example, man, because it shows you how powerful fear can become when you let it run away with you, when you let it, lead the way, when you think that your fear is the most true thing and you treat it like a fact, right? It can skew your perspective so badly, because you're right. You're thinking, I want to do a podcast. Like you said, you're inside my head, because my father used to say that to me when I was a kid. If I was, I'm coming from school and this guy wouldn't let me play soccer with him today, or he beat me up after lunch and took my money, he would always say to me, every time, without fail, he would say, oh, yeah, you're sad about that, huh? I'm like, yes, it's very upsetting. Oh, is anybody shooting at you? No, sir. Is anybody trying to kill you?
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join. Or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
No, sir. And then you just look and say, okay, it's not that bad. Go do your chores and get on with it. And I used to sometimes think it's very fun for me to recall these stories with you, because I used to think about that.
It's
And
sensitive.
as a child, and think, oh man, yes, exactly. I was, he's so mean. Why is he being so harsh? And why is he doesn't understand how I feel. And I'm so sad because I didn't get these proper running shoes that I need for the game tomorrow. And I have to wear my old one. I used to think it was so harsh and tough. And my father passed away a few years ago at the age of 92. And I'm more, thank you, my friend. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm more grateful for him every passing day because of lessons like that. He said, so, okay, what's the worst that's going to happen? He said, you're going to go try something and you're going to be bad at it, or you're not going to do well at it. And I would say, yeah, and that's terrible. And he would just say, all that means is a signal for you to try again. Oh, it's that simple. Yeah. Try again.
Yeah.
Because anytime you start something new, you're going to not be good at it, and that's okay.
Yeah. I feel courage is something we really need to understand, because most times what people understand courage to be is what it is not, right? I was watching a movie, I think The Last Samurai, and there was this young boy. He got really attached to this man who he saw as a father figure because he lost his father, and so there was a war they needed to go fight, and the guy was crying, and he asked the mother, why is he crying? He said he's crying because he's afraid he's going to lose you too, like he lost his father. And the child was asking him, he said, are you afraid? And he was like, yes. Then why do you fight the war? And that for me was,
I remember that movie.
yeah,
I remember
Tom Cruise,
that scene.
that
Yes.
for me was a defining
Yeah.
moment, that you do it anyway. Because now we've been taught that we have to feel. Because for me, I don't know what the training might be, but under it's just that as a soldier, you are trained such that you don't allow the fear control the way you act and respond to situations, right? You still feel
Yes.
it, but you don't allow it to control. Because as a normal untrained civilian, if you're shooting guns and someone is trying to trying to chase you and kill you, you will be afraid, you'll be shaking. You might start urinating on yourself and all that. So the fear is controlling you. It's affecting how you behave and all that. But as a military, I don't have any experience as a soldier, but probably I would ask a soldier. But I feel like as a soldier, you've been trained such that you still feel it, like it's there. You're scared that, oh, I might die. I have some kids at home. My wife is there. I know that you still feel it, but it doesn't affect the way you shoot your gun, the way you aim at the enemy and all that. It doesn't affect your focus and all that. You still deliver. You're still on point, right? And that for me, it's what courage is, because it's the fact that you're scared. You're scared of standing in front of people and giving that speech. Yet you go there, you smile and say, "Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to be here." They don't know that this guy is lying. Why are you lying that you're excited when you know that you're about to faint?
That's right. You're sweating. You feel like you're going to pass out.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity you've given me to give this speech. And everybody's clapping and it's like, wow, this guy is so good at speaking. They don't know what's going on.
Inside he's shaking. Yeah. Well, that's very interesting that you say that. That's a great example, because I think, my father, until I was a grown man, many years later to my dad's life and as an adult myself, my dad didn't talk to me very much about his experience in the military. And I before he passed away, and the years before he passed away in his late 80s and 90s, he started to tell me more stories, because I think on some level he thought, okay, well, you're a man now, you can handle the truth of this. And in the sharing of those things, he would talk about courage, but he would also talk about the the word duty, like the duty to do your duty. And I think you're making me think of that with your wonderful story, because I think that's an important part of facing your fear. If you feel that there's something that you have to do, you're being called to do it, and you have a sense of purpose behind it. You say, okay, well, yes, I'm afraid of speaking in front of all those people, but my sense of the value on the other side of that fear, my sense of duty to say, well, I'm scared, but I have something to offer people. I have something that could be, I feel truly in my heart, is of value to them. And the way he explained that in many instances was, he said that some of the combat that he was in, he said that the people, the soldiers, sometimes even the regular militia, civilian people that were the hardest to beat, the hardest to fight, were the ones who were fighting for something that they loved, not because they hated you or because they thought you were terrible, but because they saw you as, well, you're coming to invade something that's important to me. I love what's behind me. What's pushing me, well, I will handle the fear. I'm not going to run from it. I will be scared, but I will run towards you, because if I don't, then the things that I love that are behind me that I'm protecting, they will be harmed or they will be lost. So, I think of that in the sense that maybe that applies to what we're talking about here too, in terms of doing your best, giving your best to the world, feeling like you have something to contribute, being scared to try, and trying anyway, because your duty to be your best, your duty to give your unique contribution, your duty to share whatever form of love that you in your heart carry. I think that's what allows us to embrace courage and to feel the fear of it, face the fear, and move forward anyway.
Yeah. Now that you most persons, they cannot comprehend the idea that you can entertain two thoughts at the same time. You can have two opposing thoughts at the same time in the same mind, right? And I think when I was younger, I would fall sick, right? And I'm the kind of person I love to eat. Right? I love to eat, right? I love, yeah.
Oh, me too.
Right. So I just don't. So when I see people that like they are picky with food, I really don't understand. Like, it doesn't. My brain cannot understand the logic behind it. Especially when the meal is really good, and I would fall
Yes.
ill, usually malaria. And one of the things about malaria is you lose appetite, right? But when they prepare that meal, the desire to pounce on that meal is there. But for some reason, I just I cannot just eat it, but I want to eat it. Like, in my deepest of hearts, I want to like devour this meat. But malaria has attacked me such that I've lost appetite. And so it's the same thing. It's just that at some point in time, one is bigger than the other, right? Sometimes the fear is bigger than the
Yes.
little minute courage you have. And sometimes the courage, is bigger than the fear. And you're like, I'll do it anyway, even though you still feel scared.
I love that, actually. That's a great analogy, man. A great
Yeah, thank
example.
you.
Yeah, and yeah, really good. And I love how you expressed that when you talked about desire, right? You said, "Oh man, that meal looks so good. I want to. The desire is there." I think sometimes when we step out into a place where we're expressing our desire, and then we feel resistance, right? We meet an obstacle, or we get what we think is criticism, or someone tells us, nah, man, wisdom, that's not very smart. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Back off of that. You'll be safer, right? We start to doubt ourselves. Okay. And I think that one of the things that I always kind of meditate on is that, okay, if I step out to try something that I'm really excited about and I'm scared, but I really want to accomplish this thing, or I want to experience this thing, and then something gets in my way, an obstacle comes in any form, whatever it is, from the world, from a person, somebody presents to me a reason why I shouldn't do it. I've learned over the years to understand what that means, right? And what it has become to mean to me now is that, oh, I'm meeting resistance, or I'm facing an obstacle. What does that mean? That means I'm actually really committed. I have one thought in my mind to make the commitment to move towards that goal. Because the obstacle is the thing that's telling me I'm actually trying to accomplish something, right? Because if you don't really try, then everything feels kind of easy, right? Just like you were saying, oh, well, my microphone's not very good, or my studio doesn't look so great. So I can talk about wanting to start my podcast for the rest of my life, right? But if I try to start my podcast and I get my first interview and I get everything set up and then my microphone doesn't work and I can't figure out how to do it and the person's waiting for me. Yeah, okay, that's an obstacle, maybe even a failure. But that happening tells me that I got rid of my excuses. I'm actually trying the thing that I say in my heart is my desire that I really want to do. So even if I fail, I can be encouraged by the fact that I actually tried. And not just like, oh, you tried, good boy. But every time I fail, I have an opportunity to learn something. Next time I call you back, I say, well, let's do the interview again. I understood what happened with my microphone. I have more education. I have more skill now to prevent that. And the next time it works and we have a great talk. How it would be a shame if I just stopped. Oh, yeah, the microphone. Yeah, I can't anymore. Right? It's too hard.
Yeah.
That would be a shame to stop, because now you miss all the opportunities to experience just how strong you can make your commitment in life to something.
One of the words I see that it affects a lot of persons, and I'm careful not to use that word, is the word try. I'll try to do podcast. I'll try this business.
Yeah.
I'll try this thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's this idea that, as kids, so we're just going to dabble in it, and if we like it, we will leave and all that. Because it's a kind of mentality where you act, you do things as if you will not fail. Right? It's not like you don't know that there is a possibility of failure, but you just like, you're doing the podcast. You're not like, if it doesn't work, I'll quit. Right? It's you're like, I don't have that luxury to just quit. This stuff has to work, and that's why people usually give this a metaphor of trying to see if someone had a gun on your head, and they said you should do this thing or they'll shoot you, and you had this desire to leave. Right? Let's make that assumption. Let's be clear on that assumption. Your desire to leave is very strong. Like, how would you do this thing? And then you realize that, well, if the mic doesn't work, we'll record the stuff with the phone the way it is. I mean, it's an interview, right? What happens is that it gives you a perspective to see things that I didn't come here to dabble or play things around. Like, that's what. Same thing back to courage, right? If you're fighting, if you're fighting a war and something comes up, something happens. Let's say it starts raining or stuff like that. Certain unpredictable circumstances happen. You would find a way to make sure the stuff works, and so that you win the battle. Because now it's not a scene of, oh well, if it doesn't work, we'll run back home. I mean, I'm tired of fighting the war. I don't want people to fight, because because now you have your wife and kids that if you don't win the war, they will get destroyed and annihilated at home, and so their survivor is dependent on you fighting for them and the generation after them and the generation after them. So it's not just a question of, we'll try, we'll see. Well, we did our best. We gave all we had, and we didn't win. So we move on. I mean, they should do what they want to do. No, I mean, that approach of attempting things as though you do not have the liberty, the luxury of quitting, because people are like, I tried this stuff, and I'm like, before you even start, you try it. I'm like, I'm not interested.
So awesome, man. So many things that you said there. So on track, because usually anything that we are attempting to do that really feels a value to us, okay, means that if it feels a value to us and we're committed to it 100% wholeheartedly, then somewhere out there, it's going to have value to someone else. Even if it's just as an example, right? Of, wow, Dana made that attempt to do that thing and he didn't stop until he was done. Even if they're not interested in the thing that I do, if they watch my example, maybe they get inspired themselves and they want to step out and do their thing, whatever that is. And you made me think of a great example. I've been talking about my father a lot, but my mother, both my family's from the Caribbean. And my mom used to, as a young girl, to help take care of her 13 brothers and sisters. From the time she was 5 or 6 years old, she'd have to get up, 2 hours before school and do her chores. And one of them was to walk 2 miles there and back to the well to get water, to put a scarf on her head and carry the bucket of water on her head back home so that they could make some tea, some bush tea or something for breakfast. And so that everybody could have at least something in their belly before they went to school. and to wash up and to clean the dishes. Every day she had to do it. And I can remember my siblings and I asking her questions about that and talking to her and saying, "Oh man, didn't you hate that?" She's like, "Wasn't that terrible? Oh, that's all 2 hours before school. And then you had to go to school and do. Oh man." And she said, "No, I didn't hate it." She said, "I didn't even think about hating it because it was simple. If I wanted some tea before I went to school, I had to have water. If my mom and my dad and my aunts and uncles, right, all my family, her brothers and sisters, wanted to be able to boil an egg so that we could split the egg and each have a bite before we went to school, she said I had to go get water. So I just looked at it like, what a privilege, what an honor. I'm very happy." She said I didn't always like it. Sometimes I was tired, but she said I never even thought about hating it because if I want the water, I know what I got to do. I just get up, I do it.
Yeah, and the
Right?
strange,
And there's no choice. There's no luxury like you're talking
the
about.
strange thing, as much as people would say that's really hard and harsh, is there are people who they have the energy, they're willing to walk miles to find water, but they have no idea where the water is. Currently, yeah, like they're starved. Like, there's no water. They've searched all around. They can't find water. And here you are, you know a place where you can go, and every time you go there, you see water to draw. And you're like, "Oh, well, it's terrible. I'm not going to go for water. I'm just going to sit out here and then allow tears to kill me."
Yeah, I'm going to complain about it, right?
Same thing.
So yes, that mentality between my mother and my father on that big scale in the military, and my mother in these very day-to-day ways. Yeah. She said, if you want that thing, well, then go do what you have to do to get it. Don't wait for anybody. If I sit here and complain about the water, I'm still wasting energy. And then at the end of complaining, I have no water. She said, so I could take that energy and go get the water and come back. And at least if I had to walk 2 miles there and back, at least I had water when I got home.
Yeah. For me, it's the same thing in life. A lot of persons, they know that this thing works, that if I do this and do this business, I will be able to like make a couple of bucks and be able to take care of myself. Yeah, they don't do it. And they have all the enabling environments. They have a market of people that would buy the stuff and actually patronize them. They can afford to buy. And I'm like, there's someone out there who they don't have that liberty. Yeah, you have all these things and you still deciding not to take action. I'm like, what are we scared of? Right? There are people who take steps and they make decisions knowing that it will not even work. Yeah, right? There are people who fight back. They know that the enemy, with the number of troops and soldiers they have, they're going to annihilate them, destroy them. No chance. But yet they don't just sit down and say, let them they fight to their last breath, right? And yet we have some persons that they have these machine guns and all that, and they know that once they just turn on the machine guns, they're going to destroy and scatter everything. And they're like, I'm scared. The machine gun vibrates. I don't want it to vibrate me. And it's the same thing in life. That's what we do. Like the resources are there, people to train you, the mentors are there, they're available, they are accessible to you, and yet you don't even take use of those opportunity, and you're like, oh, I'm scared of what?
Sometimes I think too, my friend, that's a really good thought, because I think sometimes people never mind just their fear of failure or trying or however they think of it. I think sometimes people are afraid of hard work, and they think that hard work is something that they shouldn't have to do. They just can sit back and everybody will hand them everything they want. And, I say all the time, I was born in Canada, but it's very interesting because I feel like I was born in this country, but that I'm not of this country necessarily, because my mentality is from the Caribbean because of my parents. So when I went to school, I would step out into the world and I was in Canada, right? When I came home, I was in the Caribbean.
Yeah, the environment.
And yes, and that mentality of, well, if I want water, I have to go get it.
Yeah.
Not that my parents like had to drum that into my head. They didn't have to, because that's just the way they were. So we just followed that because that's what you do.
I see reason why people fight war and battles, and that's why they're very careful about the atmosphere of how the soldiers feel, because if I'm fighting alongside my comrades and every one of them, they're super pumped. I'll die for my country. I'll fight for it, right? And guess what? I'm like, we're all running down to the front line, right? Even though I'm
Of
scared and
course.
I'm supercharged and the bullet is flying and all that. And guess what? I'm in the same environment and someone is crying. Oh, I don't know what is running. And they're like, oh, I can't die. I'm too young. And me, then I'm like, I'm trying to be courageous. And guess what? The thought hits my heart and I'm like, yeah, that's true. I'm younger than that. I'm not supposed to die. And the same thing, the courage, it's very important that we surround ourselves with people that are. And then you said something about your parents and all that. The thing is, I recently have a conversation with someone is that the thing about being in the people in the midst of people who shine their light is that by being in their presence, you get this automatic permission to shine your own light too. And it has nothing to do with what they see or
Absolutely.
not. It's just that you just see them. Every time you see them, you tick them, their memory just remind you that I should shine my light. I should live my life. And that for me it's really powerful and shows that courage is not just for ourselves too, it's for others too, whether we know it or not. Yeah.
Absolutely. Courage is always
Yeah.
inspiring. No matter where you see it, no matter what it's about, when you see somebody being truly courageous, when you see someone saying, okay, this scares me, I feel vulnerable here, I feel at risk, but man, the thing that's driving me is so strong. The value that I'm trying to express and get to on the other side of the fear is so strong. I have to try. I have to go. I have to commit. I have to give it everything I've got anyway. No matter where you see that, it always moves
Yeah.
you. Now you have to make a choice yourself, right? Around whether or not you're going to, be to follow that example. But you can't pretend it didn't
Yeah.
impact you. It's always moving. And I think that speaks to what you're just saying around the value of shining our light. It takes courage to shine your light, my friend. It does.
Yeah.
No question, man, because most people are too afraid to.
Yeah.
And I understand why. I get it, but by the same token, it only makes me more committed to trying to shine my light more brightly.
Yeah. To help them too. Yeah, thank you so much. Is it Dana or Dana? Dana.
Dana.
Okay,
Perfect.
Dana. Thank you
Yes.
so much. This is a conversation that we could keep going for hours because it's something that's affecting this
I think so
generation
too.
and a lot of persons. I see them and I'm like,
Yes.
they're facing issues and I'm like, you could ask ChatGPT that question because even asking questions is an act of courage.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
And as simple as that is, right? You know that ChatGPT has the answers. They are aware of ChatGPT. They know how to use ChatGPT. And yet you don't even ask ChatGPT. And they're like, oh, I'm stuck. I'm struggling with this stuff. And I'm like, why didn't you ask ChatGPT? And I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you so much. I'm glad you shared this quote with me. And I'm glad that you helped me make sense of it. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you.
My pleasure, my friend. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you very much. I love to be with you. And you're right. This conversation can keep going and going and going because it just gets more rich as we continue. So thank you for taking the time to chat with me, my friend. I really appreciate it, Wisdom.
Where
It was
can
awesome.
my listeners learn more about you and what you do, the Digital Dojo and all that?
Absolutely. Yes. So you can find myself and my wife is my partner, and we work and started the company together at the digitaldojo.net. The digitaldojo.net. That will also lead you to all of our socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So if you can remember simply the digitaldojo.net, we have a ton of information there. Lots of information that we're just so excited to offer for free. People can take introductory courses with us, where you just sign up, you can enroll right away, no cost, no charge, no waiting, on a variety of topics. We have some longer courses. We have all of our YouTube information, lots and lots of videos that we share, and we're both very passionate and very dedicated to just do our best to give people valuable information. So the digitaldojo.net is where you'll find us.
Thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you. I love.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.